Hey YouTubers, just getting done with Shabbat, so post Shabbat Shalom to you. Hope you're having a great week. One of the things out of the Torah portion this week was the story about Dina, or Dina, or however you want to pronounce it. But there was a lot of different things that I heard about, her being raped and her Jacob not being very responsive to that, and brothers were serving out justice and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to come to you with maybe a little bit different perspective, completely from opinion and thought process, especially after learning that Jacob may not necessarily have been the supplanter that we thought about all along, but that he has this character that God saw in him, which helped him to change his name to Israel. So just bear with me. We'll go through this story a little bit at a time, and we'll go from there. So in chapter 34 of Genesis it reads, "Now Dina, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land." Okay, so she went out to the land. Okay, she went out, she's out and about, she feels comfortable enough to leave her comfort zone or the camp to go out and look at the daughters of the land and see the other girls or whatever. Okay? "And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and violated her." Alright? I'm going to continue on, I'll come back to that. "His soul was strongly attracted to Dina, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the young woman and spoke kindly to the young woman. So Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, 'Get me this young woman as a wife.' And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dina, his daughter. Now his sons were with his livestock in the field. So Jacob held his peace until they came." So it seems like, according, from what I'm hearing from others, is that Jacob heard that this guy raped his daughter, and he was like, "Oh, well, okay. Let me think about that." So, which doesn't sound like it really makes a whole lot of sense, especially since I'm a father of 4 daughters. So I had to contemplate that. Let's continue with the story. I'm going to come back to the rest here in a minute. All right. "Then Hamor," so Jacob held his peace until his sons came. "Then Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak with him. And the sons of Jacob came in from the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved and very angry, because he had done a disgraceful thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing which ought not to be done. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, 'The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife, and make marriages with us. Give your daughters to us, and take our daughters to yourselves, so you shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade in it, and acquire possessions for yourselves in it.' Then Shechem said to her father and her brothers, 'Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I will give. And ask me ever so much dowry and gift, and I will give according to what you say to me. But give me the young woman as a wife.' But the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father, and spoke deceitfully, because he had defiled Dina their sister. And they said to them, 'We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised.'" And you know the rest of the story, that they talk him into getting circumcision, him and all Shechem, his father, everybody within the men's camp. And then once they are circumcised, they go and the brothers sneak in there and they kill everybody. All right, so and Jacob was not happy about that. Now it came in, that's down in 25. "Now it came to pass on the 3rd day, when they were in pain, that 2 of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dina's brothers, and each took his sword and came boldly upon the city and killed all the males. And they killed Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and took Dina from Shechem's house and went out." Why was Dina at Shechem's house? Okay. All right. So I'm not knocking the people who think that maybe she was raped. Maybe this guy found her in the field and raped her, and then out of kindness he just sent her home and then decided to show up at Jacob's house. I'm not so sure that that's what happened. My opinion is that just like in our society, we've got two different cultures. We've got Israel, who's in there, who's got a high set of standards for how women and men are to interact with each other, especially when they're not married. Dina's leaving her father's house, going out, hanging out with the people along the countryside. She runs into this young man who's, he's a young man. He's probably really cool, good looking, possibly, woos her, if you want to use that name, woo. I know it's an old term. Or seduces her, or, is suave in the way of his manner, and ends up having an affair with Dina. Dina goes home. Dad looks at her a little like, what have you been doing? And she's not going to lie to her dad. Jacob comes to find out that there's a relationship going on between her and the Shechem guy, and Jacob holds his peace because he's probably like, all right, I want to kill this dude, but Dina here obviously likes this guy. Not sure what to do with this. All right, so he's probably fuming, but as we find out about Jacob, he's in control of his emotions. He doesn't let his emotions rule over him, so he's probably thinking about the best way to approach this is. And then his sons find out, they're fuming, and they're thinking, why isn't Dad doing something about this? Here we are, we have our sister who's been defiled by this guy, or she's made tameh, and this is not the way it's supposed to be. This isn't how we do things in Israel. And Shechem is thinking that he loves this girl according to his custom and where he's from. This is probably something that's not abnormal. This may be something to their culture that this was the norm. You meet a girl, you have relations with her, and and then you go and talk to, who knows what the scenario for their country was. And what guy who has just raped a woman, if that's what happened, decides to go and ask her father if he could marry her? I mean, it just doesn't jive. So, not only that, if we look at the character of Shechem, the brothers say, look, we can't do that, you need to get circumcised, bro. You need to get circumcised, not only you, but your dad and all the men. And Shechem's like, whatever, man, I just love her. I love her enough to do whatever you ask me to do. Okay, so it would be one thing for them to ask Shechem, bro, you need to get a tattoo right here. Let's put it on your right arm. If they were thinking, if they were trying to figure out how to make him weak, I would be like, well, he'll go for the whole right arm thing. We'll put a tattoo on there. Maybe his arm will be a little sore. It'd be harder for him to swing a sword. But they go right for it. According to our customs, you need to get circumcised. And Shechem's like, whatever, I'll do it. Now, for you guys that are out there and you're listening to this, that would be, especially as a grown male, that would be quite a commitment. And not only that, we're looking at a covenantal type sign between our Creator and possibly with these people. Because that's what it was for Israel, right? So, he commits to getting circumcised. Not only does he commit to getting circumcised, but all of those men around him. So that must tell you something about the character and the honor that's within their culture concerning who this Shechem guy is. Because all the men were like, okay. And that's one part of the anatomy that most men won't put out there like that, especially with sharp objects next to it. Okay, so there's something more going on here than I think what we give our patriarchs credit for, and that of Dina. I think that there was some play going on possibly, Dad recognizes that play, not sure what to do with it, and is like, what's the big picture here? What is the... We got pros and cons on both sides. I know that we have customs. This is not the way that we do it. But she's obviously not... I mean, we don't know what she looks like. We don't know if she's bruised, battered, whatever. All we know is that Jacob finds out, and he has to think about it. He holds his peace. Okay? So I could understand him being angry, going through some history of my own, people that I know. Young men marry without permission or do things without permission. In our culture, that's a common thing. Me personally, I asked my wife's dad if I could even date her. So, and from my perspective, that's what's the honorable thing to do. But mostly in our culture, that is not the honorable. That's not the way things are done. Men just go out and do whatever they want. And girls pretty much go out and do whatever they want. How do we know that that wasn't kind of the issue back then with the Shechem guy and his dad? So the thing is that Jacob felt that what the boys did was dishonorable. They'd taken basically a covenantal thing that was meant for life, bringing life and bringing us closer to the Creator, and convincing these guys of getting a covenantal sign and then killing them on the third day. That was probably not a good thing to do. And so anyway, I just thought that was a brief overview of a different perspective on Dina. If you have other things that you might want to add to it, this is all about sharing so that hopefully it'll spark some discussion and thoughts on different things. But there's a lot of things that sometimes we just overlook, and we just accept them because they've been taught everywhere, that doesn't depict the fullness of the character of some of the people that we hold in high esteem throughout the scriptures, that our Father holds in high esteem, enough that he would change his name to Israel later on. So I hope you have a great week. Please share your thoughts, ideas on this, and hopefully I got my point pretty much across, and that was just basically that, hey, maybe there's a little more to the story to give credit to Jacob, to where he was contemplating, because the boys didn't even let his dad know. His dad didn't even know. He found out later what they did. So just keep that in mind. You guys have a great week. Shavua Tov.